The National Funeral Practitioners Association of South Africa says from the 1st of February 2018, non-black owned funeral companies will not be able to operate in predominantly black areas in South Africa. This statement was posted on the association's Facebook page last week. The statement has caused a bit of a public outcry, with some suggesting it will cause further racial tensions throughout the country. To talk more about this, I'm joined by NAFUPA Secretary General Nkosensha Shezi, who is in our Durban studio. Good to have you. Thank you very much for being with us here on the program. And also...
And good morning to the viewers at home.
All right, thank you. And then also here in Johannesburg with me, I've got the president of the National Funeral Directors Association, Dr. Lawrence Konyana. Doctor, thank you very much. Thank you for your time and for being with us.
Thank you, and good morning to you and your viewers.
All right, let's start off with Nkosensha in Durban. Why did you make such a statement?
Look, what has happened is that as an organization, we have analyzed the length and breadth of South Africa in terms of the demographics, the economic distribution, and the manner in which we operate as funeral industry. We've realized that as black people, black business, we've never been contracted by, we are not contracted by white families, neither are we contracted by Indian families to service them. And what has happened is that the big business, the white business, as well as the Indian companies have also colluded with our very own government to stop us from doing some works like, in road accident fund, they've introduced panels that meant that with the tender system that they've introduced, if you are not on that list of companies, you can no longer render the service to the people. And some of these companies have a mandate to underwrite us. As you would know, FSP will compel us to underwrite with someone when you collect money from our people. And as an underwriter, you'd find that they are coming into our space as funeral parlors and competing with us. And we are saying that is not correct. Yeah. And if you look at South Africa in totality, we've done very well as a country in breaking down the barriers of apartheid in terms of black people moving into former white and Indian areas, and they buy houses and become actively participant of the local economy in those areas. We have never seen any white family nor Indian family moving into the township, moving into the ghettos of Alexandra and elsewhere in the country. So this piece that you see is built on nothing but sweat and cries of a black man who has no opportunity, who have been previously disadvantaged and currently sidelined.
Okay.
And we are saying as National Funeral Practitioners Association, it is now the time that the black men rise up and take their space that that should be afforded to them.
All right, let's bring Dr. Konyana into the conversation. Let's get the stance from the National Funeral Directors Association, because this is a professional body for all funeral directors. So what did you make of this comment?
Well, it's unfortunate that it had to come to that, and we still condemn the statements that were made, especially when it talks about violence, because I'm sure you've seen that it was said they will burn their cars of the non-black funeral parlors, and we condemn those intentions. And it's very unfortunate that it has to go that way. We still believe that we can still come to the table and talk and solve some of the problems, come to amicable solutions in some of the things that they've highlighted. And we don't think there is that need to go up to that level, and especially the violent part of it.
Yeah, it's a big worry, because the talk of violence is something that we don't need to see, and yet I bring you back into this, Nkosensha. You have basically come out saying that you are going to enforce this through whatever measure possible, and you're going to be starting in KwaZulu-Natal. What do you mean by this when you say you are going to enforce this?
Look, I've never used any word of violence, but it should be understood, that when you leave people languishing in poverty and you allow them to live in situations that are, even not worth to live humans, you can only expect that people will, at some point in time, break loose of that situation and try whatever means possible to claim their space as human beings. And what we mean is that come the 1st of February 2018, only black funeral directors will be operating in black areas. And it's open. The invitation is open to our white brothers and Indian brothers. Let them buy houses in the township. Let them be part of a township economy. Let them send their kids to schools in the township where schools are overcrowded and windows are broken. When it's hot, children cannot concentrate in classes. So we are saying they should just give us space so that as a black nation, we can begin to heal our nation. After 350 years of slavery, we can begin to build our own economy. We can begin to address many social ills that are facing our communities.
Sure. Okay, so I'd like to get the reaction from other funeral parlors and operators that have, businesses in townships that are, and I see in the statement it's with particular reference to Indian and white-owned funeral parlor companies. What has the reaction been? I saw a reaction from Dove saying that this is something that they're absolutely against, but I mean, you would know better.
Look, most of the funeral undertakers who are white and Indians, they're obviously very concerned and they're worried, because they've been operating in those areas for a long time, and they've got obligations to their clients, like your funeral policy clients as well. And it causes quite great concern to them, and that's why we want to find an amicable solution. And at the end of the day, it's also the client's choice. Now, if we go this route, the choice has been removed from the client. They will be forced to use a certain funeral parlor when they have, instead of choosing the one that they would wish to use.
Yeah. Nkosensha, there's also been talk from you saying that that clients that already have existing policies with white or Indian-owned funeral parlors and companies, they need to get their money back because if anything does happen, they will not be allowed into the area. Is this fair? I mean, have you been thinking at all about the customer here?
Okay, no, thank you very much, Leanne. I'm glad you're raising that up. We've never said that customers should go and withdraw money, because we understand that when you are paying for a funeral policy, it's not an investment policy. All that we are saying is that should people have claims during this period, as we've declared our black areas to ourselves, what they need to do is to go to these white and Indian-owned companies and claim cash instead of service, and go look for a black funeral service provider to conduct a funeral service for them. And I like it when people are talking about choice. Choice has been violated. In all fairness, it has been violated, but it is only a concern when the black people are rising up to take their space. I'll tell you, in Road Accident Fund, it is only limited to few white and Indian companies and few black companies. That is a violation of the choice of customers, of people, because only companies that are listed by Road Accident Fund, and we've written a petition to Parliament to that effect. We are saying we had enough with our government colluding with these companies, and we want people to be given choice to choose. And even in this measure that we are introducing, I'm not saying that people should come to my funeral parlor. They can look for any black funeral parlor to render their service.
Let me just find out from Dr. Konyama, is it possible that if I have been paying my funeral policy over the years to a company that has been owned by a white or an Indian owner, can I go back and claim my cash from them?
Look, there's the different funeral policies. Some do, yes, allow that you can claim and you go use your money where you feel fit to use it.
Yeah.
But remember, there's both formal and informal. There's burial societies that have arrangements with some of these funeral parlors, whereas claims cannot really be paid out, but the benefits will be in the form of services.
Yeah.
And just coming back to one thing, I think Mr. Sheji mentioned that the white and Indian companies, but there was also a threat made to Doves, which is black owned, and one of our concerns, we worry if this will just end up there. And I think he did highlight as well that with a Road Accident Fund, there are some black companies that have that tender, but does it mean that it will also extend to them? So it doesn't only end up with black Indians and whites at the end of the day. It will also affect the well-established black companies.
Very quickly, Nkusentsha, because I'm running into the news and this is not something I can't do, but the threats against Dove, particularly because they are 100% black-owned, will they be able to operate in the areas?
Look, our call is not directed to a particular individual company. Our call is directed to white and Indian-owned companies. And I want to make it clear that if any company is black or white, it should not come closer to any of our areas in the black township and rural areas. And I do not see a need for us to begin to speak about doves at this stage. And I'm worried about the president sitting right there, because we had a meeting with him sometime last year in February to address these matters, and he never done his work in terms of going back to his membership and making sure that we can begin meaningful negotiations so that black business can be given an opportunity to operate.
Yeah. My question to you, and I can't believe I'm doing this, but I need to. If I live in a predominantly white area and I hire somebody that lives in a township to come and do work for me, whatever it may be, whether it be to, they've got a carpet cleaning business or they've got a business that they're operating, are they allowed to come and work with me, even though it's a predominantly white area? Would that be okay with you?
Look, Leanne, let's be fair and honest. There's no white area in South Africa. Neither is there an Indian area in South Africa.
There certainly isn't, and that's why it doesn't make sense what you're saying right now.
What has
How
happened?
can you alienate a certain portion of a population to do business, especially if the customers have been paying, and if they're getting a better deal from these companies, and if they're offering a better service? Shouldn't that be the basis of you alienating some companies, not on the basis of a skin color?
It is unfortunately, but you see, the poverty that we are facing is only faced by a black nation, and it is about time now that we stop playing this illusion of a rainbow nation as if racial tensions have been dealt with in South Africa. You see, the peace that you enjoy in South Africa is built on the cries of a black man. Black children go to school on barefoot. They have to travel long distances simply because we cannot be given space as a black nation to address our problem. Whenever you are speaking of something good for the black man, you are deemed to be a racist. Yeah. But I'm not ashamed of that, because I know every revolutionary who has contributed to the well of this country, at some stage he was called names, and that's the stance that we've taken as an association. It's stance that we've taken as a National Funeral Federation, and we are not going back on it.
All right, I have to leave it there, but thank you for talking to us and for your honest opinions. The president of the National Funeral Directors Association in studio with me, Dr. Lawrence Konyama, and of course National Funeral Practitioners Association of South Africa, the Secretary General, Nkusentsha Shezi, saying, come the 1st of February, non-black owned funeral companies will not be able to operate in predominantly black areas in South Africa. We'll pick that story up. All right.